Reports from Gaza say at least 26 Palestinians have been killed and many more wounded after Israeli tank fire hit people near a US-funded aid distribution centre in the southern city of Rafah. Now, in the last half an hour, we've had these pictures in from the area. They show injured Palestinians being taken to the Nasser hospital in Khan Yunis. Now, many of the images we've seen show people with injuries which appear too graphic to show. A local journalist told the BBC thousands of people had gathered near the US-funded aid point when the Israeli tanks opened fire. There's been no comment yet from the Israeli army. Now, the incident comes hours after hopes for a new ceasefire and hostage release deal in Gaza again faded, with Hamas and Israel remaining at odds over the conditions of the latest US-backed proposal. Hamas, which is a proscribed terror organisation in the US, UK and EU, repeated its demands for a permanent truce, a complete Israeli withdrawal from Gaza and guarantees for the continuous flow of humanitarian aid. None of these are in the deal on the table. Well, our Middle East regional editor, Sebastian Usher, is in Jerusalem. He told me what was known first about the incident at the aid distribution point.
Well, the latest we're hearing as far as figures are concerned is from a Red Cross field hospital saying that at least 26 people have been killed and 150 wounded. The reports that we were getting earlier say that thousands of Palestinians are gathered near this aid distribution point in Rafah in the south of Gaza early in the morning, around 4:30 in the morning. And medics, other local sources say that Israeli tanks moved near and then opened fire, and that fire is what was responsible for the deaths and the injuries in the crowd. We've seen pictures, again, harrowing images of dead and wounded Palestinians being taken on donkey carts to the nearest hospitals that are still functioning in order to receive treatment. We've contacted the IDF for a statement, for a comment. We haven't yet heard back from them as to what happened. But this is another deadly incident, as we've seen over the past few days, as this new aid mechanism has begun to work in Gaza. It is a US-funded group that is doing this rather than the UN and other aid agencies, which have said that they don't want to be part of this initiative, which they see as not optimum for the needs of the people in Gaza. And Israel was there to provide security, Israeli troops. So this is another sign that that distribution mechanism doesn't seem to be working as everyone would have been hoping it would have done by now.
And meanwhile, Hamas and Israel remain at odds over this latest US-backed proposal for a ceasefire.
Yes, they do. I mean, Hamas took a couple of days to deliver its response to the latest proposal, essentially mediated by the US envoy Steve Witkoff. Israel had already said that it had signed up and agreed to the deal. Hamas essentially said that it had responded positively and responsibly, and that it wasn't a rejection, but they then produced a breakdown of the conditions that they are asking, which is somewhat different from what we've seen as far as the proposal appears to have been laid out. The key sticking point that there's been for so long in trying first to get that 6-week ceasefire that did finally take place, and to try and get another ceasefire in place since it collapsed, is over Hamas's insistence that any ceasefire negotiations, any talks, once it is implemented, should lead and should have guarantees right at the start to a total withdrawal of Israeli troops and a permanent end to the war in Gaza. That's something that the Israeli government isn't ready to do as far as the situation is at the moment. That the pressure is certainly building on both sides to come to a compromise and to ensure that a ceasefire and the release of the remaining hostages does begin to take place.